We are rolling. Alright. What is your full name?
Edmund Paul John Colwell.
Do you like your own name?
To a degree.
What do you mean by that?
It's a bit posh, but I like the fact that it's a bit posh at the same time.
When you say it's a bit posh, are you saying... Because obviously being posh a lot of the time is considered negative.
It's quite an oldie worldy name.
Yeah.
But I've grown into it quite well. So.
Yeah, I do think it suits you in the sense that you're quite eccentric, I'd say.
Yeah.
But also quite down to earth at the same time. Like you're not gonna not relate to the things that you say and do. You're quite normal, but yeah, no, I don't think it affects anything.
No.
Would you feel it when you, for example, when do you have to, when you enter your name into like something on the
Online?
internet? Yeah. Do you use that full name or
Yeah.
you do
Yeah.
all the time or?
Well, not Paul John, but I use Edmund.
Okay. Yeah, because obviously you abbreviate
Yeah.
Edmund to Eddie. Which obviously would you see that as avoiding the poshness?
No, it's more
there.
conversational. Eddie slips into conversation better. And I've always been called Edmund by teachers. So, with my mates I'm Eddie. But as a person I'm Edmund.
Would you prefer those teachers to refer to you as Eddie? Just
I
to
like
make
Edmund.
you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the fact that I like having two names, to be fair. Because Edmund has one vibe and then Eddie has another one.
Do you think you switch between those?
What, the vibes?
Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah.
And what vibe has Eddie got that? Because obviously you say to your mates you're Eddie, but to
Eddie's more fun.
only you're a fun person.
I like to think so.
You are a fun person. That's a given. But yeah, no, I do think I agree with you, to be honest. Edmund sort of, it does put more seriousness on
And
it.
that's why I use it as my tag as well. Edmunding.
Yeah, well, my next question is actually, do you go by any pseudonyms or pen names?
Edmunding.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually, it's a mistake, isn't it? It's a mistake that...
No, that's on purpose.
No, but the way people thought your surname was Munding.
Oh yeah.
But it's
Everyone
actually...
thought I was called Ed Munding.
Yeah, because wasn't it that someone, you just once came up with the verb
Yeah.
that you were Ed Munding, which actually is extremely interesting in what we're talking about because your actual name and your personality became a verb in some instance, you were Edmund.
To Edmund.
Yeah, you were to Edmund, but what exactly brought that about? Like, what was Edmunding that justified it to be actually spoken into existence?
I don't know, I think it was... I'm not going to lie, I was quite young when I came up with it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to have a sense of identity within my, name that went out to everyone else.
Because obviously, you didn't choose it. Your
No.
real name. No.
No.
So.
But I want when people see what I'm doing,
you own
to
it.
be like, he is doing that.
Yeah.
He is doing an Edmund.
Yeah.
Especially with my creative outfit.
So would you attribute it now to the creative output, or would you say that
A lot more.
a lot more in what sense? Would you still say that if you're making something, if you're creating something, you're Edmunding.
Yeah.
See, that's nice. That sort of means that you've held on to your childhood in a sense that you've not let it. You've not tried and sculpted a new sort of disassociated personality from being a kid, which obviously as we're sort of talking about the psychology of things, like most opinions are founded in like your upbringing and your early years. So yeah, no, that does say a lot about you, and it does say a lot about your work.
Because it is quite childlike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's perfect answer. And would you attribute yourself to a specific group?
That's a very good question. Our group? No, not really. Bit weird, but like I don't like the typical clique nature of society.
No. Yeah.
But at the same time, there are cliques that I would acknowledge the fact that I avoid.
Would you acknowledge any that you're in? Or not cliques, but collections of people, I guess. So, literally, you know, I'm sort of asking whether you feel a strong connection to, say, a group of friends that you find yourself around. Would you say that that's, you know, if someone was to know you and to refer to you, would you feel comfortable with them saying, oh, they're one of them?
It depends what they were saying we were, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, if it was negative surrounding the kind of people.
No.
You wouldn't like that, or?
I wouldn't like that. If someone said something negative about our group generally, as a generalisation, I would, because our group isn't really founded on one particular trait.
No.
We're kind of like a group of out bands, you know.
Yeah.
Like we are sort of the Strags that found each other.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel like it's something that can immediately be identified with a label or with one character trait, because it's based on years of each of our lives. But if it's positive, like, yeah.
And would you? So if someone was saying something positive, but you didn't necessarily identify with it, so they were saying, I don't know. There's not really many. I don't know. You can have someone say something positive about you, but you think like, that's not really me. But like, it's nice that you think that.
Yeah.
Say an example. I don't know. Maybe someone thinks that we're really easygoing and that we sort of allow a lot of things. Would you consider that? If someone said that about you, about us, or about you being part of that, would you think that was negative? Would you dislike that in any way?
Depends. I think being easygoing is good. I think I like to think of myself as fairly easygoing, especially with the way I interact with other people. But not in the respect that I'm a mug.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm getting at. You wouldn't want it sort of to be like a known characteristic.
Yeah, not gullible, not.
So you'd almost feel you'd want to protect against that in some way.
Yeah, I'd like that only to be assumed once it's been proved.
If someone was to prove it to you, to bring up like an example of when you've been stepped on or something by either another group or by an individual, would you consider that an insult to your like integrity and to your personality? 100%.
Yeah.
Because
it makes it personal.
Yeah. I hear that. Oh well, I feel like you've kind of already answered this, but does this group have a name? Do you go by a sort of a name? You said the dregs of normal people, but it doesn't have a specific name.
Yeah, we're not really
a named clique.
Named clique.
No.
We are just kind of a little group of individuals that were at one point on the outside but have found an inside.
And would you say it's a secure inside, like an inside that has I don't know, has legs away from the security it gives you? Like,
what do you mean by that?
like, do you think you could survive on the identity that the group gives you?
100%.
100%.
100%.
That's interesting. So that means you feel strongly if someone, like you said, you know, it'd be personal if someone was to insult a certain thing about the group, about personalities that make it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And oh, actually, there's one thing I did want to touch on. Obviously, you had that other people won't know this necessarily, but the Burnt Bird Collective. There's something that interested me, that sort of spikes my interest in your motivations group wise. Obviously, it's something that you started.
Yeah.
And you gave it its name. Obviously, it's sort of in limbo at the moment.
It's waiting.
It's waiting.
Waiting
Okay.
until it can do anything.
Okay, it's good to hear that it's still in limbo. It hasn't been
not ruled out.
not ruled out. And does that embody the same traits as the group that you found yourself aligned with, that doesn't have a name? Because obviously you've sort of not splintered away from it, but you've developed something of your own, which is a group, which is almost of your choosing. You know, I'd like to. I think I was talking to Ryan Johnson the other day, because he was asking about Burnt Bird, and I sort of refer to you as the cult leader of it, almost the sort of charismatic leader of it, who could choose who's in or out.
Yeah.
And you do choose who's in or out. Do you select them? Everyone that's inside of it, did you select because they came to you, or did you go to them?
It was half and half.
Half and half. Okay.
Put up things saying who would like to be involved. And then asked to see their shit, and if they sent me their shit and I liked it, they were in. But majority of them did, and I didn't, and it didn't line up with what I wanted for it.
So you did reject people from it?
Oh yeah.
You did? Okay. But obviously, I'm gonna assume that none of it was ever personal. Why you did it? Obviously, it's not. Some of it was personal.
No, none of it was personal. It was just based on the work.
Okay, yeah, that's good to hear.
But at the same time, I feel like at least the type of art that I like to produce is very much so attached to me as a person. Like it is.
And you'd want others in the group to have the same.
It is another outlet. So if you had opinions or traits that I didn't necessarily agree with or like, it wouldn't fit into that, because I'm trying to do something which is trying to say
what you want.
What I want to say.
So you essentially are creating a group, or in the process of, it's in sort of alpha stage at the moment, that you're creating a group of individuals that think like you.
Or finding individuals that think like
and sort of allowing that process to happen as fast as it wants to.
Yeah.
And obviously the idea behind it was that you set people a theme, right?
Yeah.
You set people a theme, and they produced whatever they produced, and you weren't gonna intervene once you'd selected an individual. For the collective. You weren't going to intervene with what they produced from an outcome. So does that mean that once you'd collected this group of people that think like you do in your mind,
or even in ways that I'm interested in?
Yeah. You could muse with, you could sort of excited to see what they produce.
Yeah.
Does that mean if you weren't happy with an outcome, would you still output that? Would you sort of still align with it, or?
Yeah, or well, if I didn't like it based on a views thing, like if it was technically good, like it was a good piece of work, it just broadcast an opinion that I didn't necessarily have, I would still definitely broadcast that, because.
And would you give credence to its like difference? Would you sort of highlight? I don't know, if you were to exhibit it, and you were to have a room, like one 4 walls room, and say there was 4 people, would you bring any like different attention to the wall that had the like controversially different opinion? Would you sort of?
Nah, I'd put as much work from each person up as the next person, and then because half of my interest would be watching others' reactions to
That
it
is exactly
and which work.
That is exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
that you sort of let people make the
Yeah.
say like, so if people came to you and thought like that one's different, isn't it? That one's not aligned with you, but it's the same theme. Then you have created diversity in understanding something from 2 points of view from something that you're both interested in, which is great. That is great.
And hopefully, if the work is good enough and lines up with each other enough, then people can form their own opinions, maybe based on 2 or 3 different artists.
And it could be like a ultimate.
Yeah, if it's all on the same theme,
Yeah.
and you go from wall to wall, and you get 4 distinct viewpoints in distinct styles, you'll draw different things from each one, and then might have a more informed or questioning opinion on that theme.
So my next question from that is kind of one thing I know I do, which is terrible to be honest, it's very biased, but is I'd like people to think exactly how I think, which is a shame because it's something that won't happen, and it's something that can't and shouldn't because that's extremely selfish. So in theory that's the perfect outcome really, that you've got a theme that you've set because it's from your interest, and then you've actually given people a stronger knowledge of things than you thought you had. You know, people have seen things from a perspective that you wouldn't expect and you wouldn't align yourself with originally. So, you know, you can kind of educate yourself by being the leader anyway, which is that's a very progressive and understanding way to do it. Moving on from that, do you align with a specific identity? And, you know, interpret that how you want, I guess.
I'm still trying to find out to a degree. I'm trying to broadcast myself quite a lot at the moment. And there is a way that I want that to be interpreted.
So you sort of want an identity?
I want, but I'm 19. I don't really know.
Yeah, you know nothing really.
I don't know.
We don't know anything.
Yeah.
We need someone else to really... But do you want someone else to put you in a box?
No, I want to grow, because I do have an identity, and I am constantly trying to create one.
Yeah.
But I won't be able to recognise what this identity is until I'm in the next one.
Yeah.
We are all different people.
So you do definitely think that having a singular identity for an extended period of time is not necessarily damaging, but
it's not constructive.
Yeah, it doesn't. You're not attracted to it anyway.
No. I know that I'll be multiple people throughout my life.
Yeah, that's good.
Completely.
That's good. I'm conscious that it's gonna run out of time, but I will ask you the next question. Do you have a specific worldview? And that sort of, a lot of people would combine worldview with identity. Because a lot of people, you know, once they've got their identity, they believe that people should sort of recognise that entirely as like part of their worldview. But would you say you have one of your own that's sort of?
I'm quite cynical, but also I like to think progressive with that, or trying it to be at least.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself a bit as being open to other people or other